everybody, and welcome to another podcast here from the ICA Sports and Fitness Science Council. I'm Dr. Brad Hulsebus, board member, and I'm very excited today to introduce our guest. Now, I've known our guest for a little while because of hockey related, but Dr. Alan Palmer, why don't you go and tell us who you are and where you live and introduce yourself to us.
All right, I'm Alan Palmer, and I live in Scottsdale, Arizona, but I hail from the great state of Minnesota, the state of hockey. So that's my connection with hockey there. I grew up with hockey. It's always been my favorite sport, I think, as a spectator and a participant when I was younger and things like that. And so, yeah, I've had the really great fortune, the blessing to have taken care of the Arizona, formerly Phoenix Coyotes, since their first year here in the Valley in 1996 up until a couple of years ago. And same thing with the Arizona Diamondbacks. And yeah, hockey and baseball have been a big part of my life, my practice life, and all that as well.
Sure, but you and I first heard of you and met of you because I just finished my 20th year with the AHL Rockford Ice Hogs. And somebody
Nice.
came to me and said, hey, did you know there's a Pro Hockey Chiropractic Society? And that sounded pretty neat to me, so I got online, found you, and joined. And you know a little bit about this group, correct?
Yeah, it's something that I started a group called SEPA back in the mid 90s. I was working with the San Francisco Giants in spring training here in Scottsdale. And the head athletic trainer, Mark Laton, asked me to try to network the chiropractors in Major League Baseball because they had such a tough time finding a qualified chiropractor when the team would travel because a lot of teams didn't have them or the chiropractor wasn't available. So they had to actually go to the phone book oftentimes. And
Mm-hmm.
Mark shared some of the horror stories with me of some of the things that a lot of chiropractors just don't know about how to work within the multidiscipline system. They come in and they really step on people's toes and shoot themselves in the foot. So we started this group where we did training seminars, we did educational seminars in different cities, and we brought in who we thought were some of the best instructors in technique and various things and tried to help to educate and qualify chiropractors for working in sports and eventually adding some chiropractors to the major league teams. And then I was super busy. I had 4 kids within 6 years that at that time were probably in their 16-year-old range, and they were all in sports. And so between my practice and working with the two teams and trying to run the SEPA thing, I finally just had to put it on the shelf. And then a few years ago, it was probably about 12 years ago, I met Dr. Rick Bishop at Pro Sport. And we got to talking, and he said, why don't we start that back up again and get it going? And I said, he didn't have kids at the time. He wasn't working with any teams. And I said, you're going to have to take the helm and I'll help you with everything. And so we started the Professional Baseball Chiropractic Society. We did an annual workshop every year at a spring training facility. We'd alternate between Florida and Arizona and have our educational workshops there for the chiropractors in major and minor league baseball. And then about 6, 7 years ago, I said, why don't I take this template then and create the Professional Hockey Chiropractic Society? We basically I modeled it after that. And then so we've had that going ever since, with a little bit of an interruption from COVID, of course, from being able to do live events. But we got our workshop coming up the end of July in Chicago. And so I'm really excited about that. We've got some great speakers. Dr. Mitch Malley, who a lot of your docs have probably heard of. I consider him probably the best adjusting chiropractor in the world and teacher. He's just phenomenal. He's like a 12th degree black belt extremity adjuster. He's amazing. And then we got Ray Burrell, he's the St. Louis Blues head athletic trainer. He's been there many years. And we've got some other great speakers too, and 12 hours of CEs. And so I've been working really hard on putting that workshop together. We're going to go tour the Chicago Blackhawks training facility, and the Blackhawks are putting lunch on for us there and everything. It's going to be a neat weekend and a great experience for everybody involved, hopefully.
Awesome. And you're right about that because it's even when I was back then, now the defunct UHL, before it became part of the AHL, I get that all the time. Hey, we're going to be in Kalamazoo, Michigan. One of the guys needs to see a chiropractor. Who do you recommend them? And I'd get the phone book out and start looking too. I didn't know anybody in Kalamazoo. But now it's exciting that, because I get to meet the other AHL chiropractors at the previous conferences. Mm-hmm. And we give our trainer a list of all of our Gonstead listings on everybody. So when they go to another team, meet their chiropractor, they can give them those. But not only that, but now we've all met each other and we can call each other and talk to each other.
And that's a big part of it, is the networking. It's just networking everybody together. And it's so true. It's just having that connection and that network and really understanding our role as a chiropractor in the multidiscipline system. That is so important. And in fact, what's neat is on the baseball side with the PBCS, we've been able to add over 30 chiropractors to minor league teams. So we have an initiative there for the last few years where we help to identify qualified chiropractors and interview them first and do all our due diligence, check their background, check their board record. And then for the most qualified of those, we give them over to the team head athletic trainer or the medical director, whoever it is with the team, the major league team. And then they filter that down to their minor league coordinators and they do the interviews. And we've been able to place a lot. And then actually your associate, Dr. Nate Hayes, is our guy with our minor league system at the hockey. And we've begun that as well with hockey. So hoping to get all the teams utilizing chiropractors. So by the time players have worked their way up through the system too, they're very familiar with chiropractic and request and want to utilize the services of a chiropractor. So it's
that was Christopher Steig's complaint when he was down here with the Rockford Ice Hogs. He went to Chicago. At that time, the Blackhawks didn't have a chiropractor. And he couldn't understand, how do we have one in the minors but not in the majors? And
right.
Quite a thing. And the Blackhawks, I don't know the person they first hired, but I know the interdisciplinary thing did not work out at all with them. So I think what you're talking about, having an organization that can help not only the chiropractors find teams, but the teams find chiropractors is very important.
Yeah, I think so too. Because it is a unique setting. In our own offices, we are the gatekeepers, right? We call the shots and we direct care and we dabble into other things, different types of modalities and treatments and nutrition and various things. But when we're in that setting, we have to realize we have to stick to our wheelhouse. And until you develop relationships with the medical staff and the trainers and everything to where they begin to trust you more and more, they know more about your skill set. And then they'll let you a lot of times expand that repertoire a little bit. But of course, when it comes to nutrition, of course, too, you have to, with all the anti-doping things and everything having to be NSF certified for sport, you got to make sure you can't make recommendations that are outside what are approved, or you could get in trouble and the player throws a positive test or something, you could be in big trouble just for recommending something that isn't on their approved list, right?
Yes.
So
I had a previous associate used to throw out the word subluxation degeneration too much, and here you have a 20-year-old kid being told he's got degeneration of the spine. This the agent's calling you. So even knowing the right wordage to use in front of players is an enormous skill.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Yeah.
So this is go ahead.
Go ahead.
This is an ICA podcast, and I go to Palmer College after this, right in my backyard. And a lot of people hear that I'm a sports chiropractor, and they think that means I gave up on that word subluxation because I'm in a sporting environment. And you could speak of this too. That word definitely still exists in the sporting world, correct?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And that is fundamental to what we do. And I've had conversations recently. We've been trying to fill the spot with the Montreal Canadiens. They do not have a chiropractor. So we've been working behind the scenes to try to work through their medical director and so forth to see if we could introduce one of our chiropractors as a possible position there. And as it turns out, he came back and said that they have a physical therapist that manipulates, and that some of the key players on the team are really comfortable with this individual and so forth. And so I've had some conversations even with your associate Nate this morning, telling him the story, that because this all really just transpired, and that they just don't understand that what we do is so different. It's not just moving bones or popping bones or manipulation. It's specific. It's a specific assessment, a specific line of drive, depth of thrust, corrective measure that is so different than what is often done in the training room when athletic trainers or PTs are trying to manipulate players. And they don't understand the power of it. First of all, they don't understand that you're not just trying to get a kink out of their back. You're trying to enhance the performance of the nervous system and the function of the individual overall as a whole. And so that gets lost there. And it's sad because players really have no appreciation for that, and they're not being educated about it. So they have no idea. They think in their mind that they're maybe getting the same thing that they would be getting from a doctor of chiropractic, and it's not true. It's just not the same.
One of the things we do in our team is we take a full spine x-ray of every player before the season starts.
Right.
And then we get to sit down with them for 5 minutes and tell them the whole chiropractic message. We get 5 minutes. And we try to maximize that 5 minutes.
You got to squeeze it down to 5 minutes.
And it's even more fun when you got 2 or 3 players in the room making fun of each other. It's just,
That's hockey players. Yeah, I can picture that.
And I know this is true. Maybe not so much because I'm going to talk to Dr. Stacy Conrad next with the football group. But I know this is true in baseball and hockey. A lot of times we're the ambassador for chiropractic because whatever country they're coming from, Like the Russian hockey players, they
Yes.
don't have chiropractic where they're from. You want to talk a little bit about the role that we play not only as team chiropractors, but as ambassadors for the whole
Yes.
profession?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it is a unique role that we have. And what's also unique about it is there's virtually really no chiropractors or none that I really know of that are full time with teams and travel with the team and they're down there in the training room all day long. We all have our own practices and then we do this on the side. So it's a little unique of a kind of a setting there, which actually really says a lot about what our role and what we provide the teams that they will allow one specialist, just one specialist that will do that. Obviously, the medical doctors, the surgeons, and so forth have their own practices too. But with regard to the kind of manual work that we do, typically everybody involved that gets to put their hands on the player and do manual type work is a full-time employee of the team, except for us, or like the hired guns that get to come in there and do that. But yeah, it's true. When you work on athletes that are from different cultures and different countries and different things, you get to introduce them to chiropractic care. And it's funny because over the years I've worked on a few of the Russian players team, and they're a different breed. They'll get off the training table, they'll go off to the side, or they go outside and have a cigarette and stuff. And these players from back in the day, smoking cigarettes and drinking and all this stuff. And here they're these high level athletes, but they just have these cultural norms for them that they still experience and involve
Absolutely.
themselves with. But
Absolutely.
yeah.
All right. Well, I want to thank you for joining us, and I'm going to put a link to both the Pro Baseball Chiropractic Society on this. I'm going to put a link to the Pro Hockey Chiropractic Society too, so people can go on and learn more about those two groups if they'd like. And I always let you have the final word, so the thing we didn't talk about you wanted to mention, go ahead. This is your chance.
I appreciate you having me on, first of all, Doc. And it's exciting to be able to just participate in this kind of a role. I've always felt that every time I walk through the parking lot, the players' lot, going into the clubhouse and everything, I always had to pinch myself because I'm like, why me? How can I get to be so lucky to be able to do this? So I never took it for granted. I always just appreciate and have a deep sense of gratitude for that role. And I think for your docs too that are listening and wanting to work with teams, I started out at a lower level. I started out at a high school. I went to then to the junior college, and you have to pay your dues. You have to do that and build your resume really, and that's really important. But the biggest thing I could probably leave as a takeaway is just you got to check your ego at the door. You have to realize that you're really lucky to be there if they're putting their trust and confidence in you at whatever level you're at to be their team chiropractor. Just realize that you have a special role to play and that you're an ambassador for the profession too. It's not just all about you. And I think that's really important. And if you understand those standards and protocols of how to communicate properly, the chain of command, make sure you clear everything with the head athletic trainer, whoever the gatekeeper is for that team before you do it. And they know that they can trust that you will do that and not step on toes of other medical specialists that are working on the player and stay in your lane. You should do really well. And that's good for you, but it's also great for our profession that we can elevate our profession to a level to where we are accepted and more household name athletes benefit from chiropractic because then that trickles out into their talking points or when they speak to the media, they get adjusted, they had a problem, they feel better. And that's better for our profession as a whole because they're out there singing the praises of chiropractic. And that's ultimately for me what it's all about and why I really took on that challenge from Mark in the early days to really start this is I felt if we could get the Barry Bonzes of the world and Joe Montana, he got adjusted in the pregame show by Nick Athens. We could get those kinds of stories out there, man. We could really elevate our profession to a whole nother level.
I was thinking about Dr. Ted Carrick and Sidney Crosby on Sports Illustrated.
Yes,
You
yeah,
never
perfect
know.
example of that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
never know. And I
Yes.
also love the fact you said it takes hard work and stuff like that because students come to me all the time and say, "What's the one piece of research you presented with the team to have them hire you?"
Yeah.
I tell them it takes two things. It takes three things. It takes a little bit of luck. It
Yes.
takes a little bit of putting their time in with other teams, like you said, high schools. I did all that too. And
Hmm.
lastly, geographically, you can't live in the middle of Omaha and expect to be the chiropractor for the Dallas Cowboys. You have to
Right,
live in
right.
Dallas. So
But
that's
there's
big
where
parts of it.
expanding the minor league systems and the lower
Hmm.
level professional teams, organizations, and leagues and so forth, chiropractic into those areas give a lot more chiropractors those opportunities, whether you live in Omaha or some other small town. If they've got a minor league team or minor league hockey team or something like that, it gives you more opportunities. Yeah, so that's great.
And
Perfect. I
often
love
I was
that.
this some of our minor league teams here in Rockford, Illinois, I was a selling point. Hey, you should come play for us and not Kalamazoo because we have a chiropractor. Oh, I want a chiropractor.
Nice,
So they picked us over them. So
that's great.
yeah,
Awesome.
you earned your keep.
Perfect.
All righty.
All right.
Well,
Thank
thanks
you.
for joining us. And thanks for
Appreciate
tuning in. And for those of you listening, feel free to like and subscribe to this podcast. And like I said earlier, I'll put links in the description below. You can find it there. Otherwise, everybody stay healthy, stay strong, and enjoy your world of health, science, and fitness.
Yeah. Take care, everybody. Thanks, Doc.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.